Well, the boys around here don't listen to the Beatles run. Old Bo Cephas threw a jukebox needle at the honky-tonk where their boots stomp all night. What? That's right. Yeah, and what they call work a digging in the dirt. Gotta get it in the ground before the rain come down to get paid to get the girl in your four-wheel drive. Yeah, the boys around here drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit. Oh, heck. Well, the boys around here, they're keeping it country. Ain't a damn one know how to do the Dougie. No, I'm not in Kentucky, but these girls around here, yep, they still love me. Yeah, the girls around here, they all deserve a whistle. Shaking that sugar sweet as Dixie Crystal. They like that yawling southern drawl and just can't help it 'cause they just keep falling for the boys around here, drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit.
Let's ride through the countryside. Let's ride down to the riverside.
Hey now, girl, hop inside. Me and you gonna take a little ride to the river. Let's ride. That's right. Lay a blanket on the ground. Kissing in the crickets is the only sound. We out of town. Have you ever got down with a do you wanna get down with a girl, you gotta get down with the boys around here, drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco. I'm one of them boys around here, drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit.
Welcome to the Wing It Call, October 4th, 2016. Who'd have thunk we'd be here now? Take a knee, please. Lord, thank you again for all that you have provided, all that you continue to provide, the experiences that you allow us to go through. Sometimes we think that they're bad, but you did say in your good book that through pain and suffering comes growth. And I will say this, at times, how much is too much? You say that you put no more on our shoulders than what we can bear or stand up to. And at times, we feel that it's just a tad, a smidgen bit too much. But we accept what you dole out. We bear the weight. because you help us through it. We ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. The disclaimer is we're not attorneys, financial advisors, CPAs. This is our opinion. None of this is to be considered any legal advice at all. And for the rest of the disclaimer, please go to the wingitcall.com. There is a disclaimer tab. Click on that for the rest of the disclaimer. Well, let's see. A little housekeeping. I want to talk about conference calls. I've had the one that I have now is with Instant Teleseminar. I've had Free Conference Call HD, Free Conference Call. All of them pretty much operate the same. After going through all three of those, if you're trying to three-way in somebody, there is no way that you can see that somebody has three-wayed in another person on any of these boards. Nada. I'm here to tell you, from trial and error, looking at them, working with them, there is no way, I repeat, no way that if you three-way in somebody, does it show up on the board at all. So people saying that they can see things like that are blowing smoke out their wahoo. I'm trying to be redneck clean about this. And I don't care how much they claim that they can see things, absolutely not happening. So for 10 minutes today, somebody was complaining they could see three-way callers. Give me a break. Now there's more, but we will go with the Art Master. Come on down.
Thank you, Jerry, and good afternoon to Currency Land out there. All I can say is, we've all been waiting for 800 numbers, so read your sit reps. They're on Dinar Chronicles. They're too long to read. My voice wouldn't handle it today. If I tried to read one, there was one just put out late this afternoon, which explains, I guess, pretty well where we are. We do know that it was said last night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. They started to do exchanges with customers at Wells Fargo and some subgroups, I guess, in groups. And I don't know. You just read the sit reps because it pretty well explains what's happening, and we're just waiting for our turn with our 800 numbers, and there's really not much more out there. Just read those sit reps. It kind of explains what is taking place and probably will the rest of the week, and so anybody can go to DinarChronicles.com. That's really all I got. I mean, there's nothing else to say. We're just everybody chomping at the bits to get those numbers to call to go set an appointment to go do something. So I'll turn it back to you, Jerry.
Thank you, Art. And that being said, we're still in the time frame that I talked about a week or two ago. If we're still here Friday and we have not been notified or gone through the process, then Wingman and myself will talk about another scenario. Distasteful as it could be, we will. Star 2 to raise your hand, and we'll take some questions here. But Wingman?
Yeah, hi, everybody. I just wanted to add something to what you were talking about, the three ways. I mean, what I love is that all these people with their confidential calls think that their security's tight and they're confidential. I mean, God, I must get half a dozen calls every time somebody has a confidential call. It's silly. There are there are special call groups out there that do have good security. I'm not saying that, but anybody that's in DNR land, if you know their name and they're having a phone call once or twice a week, and they're claiming that people can't get in on their calls, that's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And if they're under the illusion they've got that kind of security and that kind of loyalty from their the people who send in their call, they're under serious illusions themselves. The other thing I want to mention is things you can do to help people you know in this venture. I've got a very, very, very dear friend who, quite frankly, is one of the people who got me into this venture. She's got a wedding coming up, her daughter's, and she doesn't have the money to pay for it. The only way she's got money is to sell her currency. And you know, rule number 1, don't sell your currency. And rule number 2, don't give your currency to anybody. So what I coached her to do was go ahead and sell just what she needed to cover the initial bills. There's usually a deposit, and then there's usually a final payment after. And I told her to go ahead and cover a deposit, and that I would, make sure that she's covered in the exchange, because I certainly have figured out ways enough to make money off this thing where she can still be a very wealthy woman, and it's no skin off my back to finance it. So my point is, if you have a friend who's some of us were smart about this. Some of us were really smart. Some of us were careless. And I'm not speaking to the ones who were careless, but I am speaking to the ones who thought, well, 3 years ago when you bought this currency, it was going to happen in a few months or a year, and then it dragged out, and you've been hanging in there. But it's tough times these days. So if you know somebody, if you got a friend in this venture who's in dire straits, you can help them out. Everybody on this call has enough currency to help out at least one friend. And I mean help them out in a big way. And so what if you go from having 300 million to 230 million or 250 million? I mean, if you can't figure out how to make money from that, well, you're probably not going to keep your money very long anyway. So, I broke the Carter rule and suggested to somebody that they sell some currency. It happened, and I guess the lesson for me was that we want to toe the company line as much as possible. We never want to let go of our currency. We never want to lose faith that it's going to happen. But sometimes life happens, and some things are more important, like your daughter's wedding. So that said, I just wanted to share that because it's happened to a lot of us, and I know we get a lot of pressure to stay in this no matter what and all that. But there's ways to be wise and there's ways to be foolish. So, and that being said, if we're not out of this by Friday, Gary and I got a few things to talk about. That's for sure. So hopefully we'll have that kind of phone call. Okay, that's it.
All right. So in essence, keep your chin up. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater just yet. And yes, this is a real thing. I get a couple of emails. You might want to mute yourself on your end, Wingman.
Yeah, sorry, I will. Just taking care of business there.
Oh, I understand. I get emails 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 a day, a week, saying, is this a real thing? Yes. I feel your pain. Trust me, I feel your pain. I'm trying to be an advocate for you, to speak up, to say the things that you cannot, I've done a fair job. I probably could have done better. I've grown over the time since I've started doing this. From the very beginning when I started with Blondie over at Winsome, and made improvements, maybe made a step backwards or two. We know that's all part of growth. You stub your toe, you fall down, you get back up. And I'm just giving people time to raise their hands. Star 2 to raise your hand. I want to read something here, and it won't be very long. And it's by Mr. Redneck himself, Jeff Foxworthy. I think we all know who that is. Got a nice little email. I've seen it before. But darn it, if it doesn't speak volumes. So I'm going to just read a couple excerpts. If plastic water bottles are okay, but plastic bags are banned, you might live in a nation state that was founded by geniuses but run by idiots. We do live in such a dumb country. If you get arrested for hunting or fishing without a license, but not for entering and remaining in the country illegally, you might live in a nation that was founded by geniuses but is run by idiots. If you must show your identification to board an airplane, cash a check, buy liquor, check out a library book, rent a video, but not vote for who runs the government, you might live in a nation that was founded by geniuses but is run by idiots. There's many more, but I want to scroll down here and read the tail end, so if you'll indulge me. Let's see if I got this right. And please listen closely. If you cross the North Korean border illegally, you get 12 years hard labor. If you cross the Iranian border illegally, you are detained indefinitely. If you cross the Afghan border illegally, we shoot you dead. If you cross the Saudi Arabian border illegally, you will be jailed. If you cross the Chinese border, you may never be heard from again. You cross the Venezuelan border, you are labeled a spy and your fate will be sealed. If you cross the U.S. border illegally, you get a job, a driver's license, a Social Security card, welfare, food stamps, credit cards, subsidized rent or a loan to buy a house, free education, free health care, and a lobbyist in Washington, billions of dollars worth of public documents printed in your language, the right to carry your country's flag while you protest that you don't get enough respect, and in many instances, you can vote. I just want to make sure I had a firm grasp on the situation. Please keep this going forward to all of your friends and family. It's time to wake up, America. I would like to send that to my socialist buddy who lives in Austin. And no, not my other buddy. He's got a brother because he's on the government dole and thinks that Bernie Sanders and Hillary are the next best thing to sliced bread and peanut butter. So anyway, let's get back over here. A few hands have been raised. Right, rattle off the box. Findlay, Ohio, 419. Come on down.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. Hello. Yep. Well, she'll come back. She put her hand down. Mandeville, Louisiana, 985.
Hey, how you doing today?
Hello. Good. How are you doing?
Hello. Good, great. I called up a couple of calls ago and was asking if anybody could tell me what the call letters were for the Zim on the exchange
Yes.
site. And I was hoping maybe the wingman or somebody could tell me exactly what the call letters are.
Well,
I'm having a little
it's going to
problem
be
with it.
it's going to be ZWR. I've heard of ZWD, and the other one I'm not quite sure of.
You know, I was wondering if it was ZWD because the ZWD right now is showing at 362 to 1. As far as like $1 is equal to 362 ZIMs.
Right.
dollars.
Yeah, but that's not
It's a pretty good
that's on
exchange rate right now.
that's on one of the secondary sites. That's not
On
on
XE. I don't know if that's secondary or not.
Yeah, that's secondary. That's secondary. XE's been showing that for years. Actually, to get real technical about it, right now the ZIM does not have any call letters because the ZIM is not a currency. Okay? There is no national currency currently, as of this moment, for Zimbabwe. Okay? All we see is different denominations of what are being called bond notes. So they're not actually currency notes. When Zimbabwe does issue their own currency, which they're rumored to be printing now and getting ready to, supposedly that's going to be ZWD, but nobody really knows, and that's not up to anybody. I think that's up to the IMF is how a legal currency is designated on the exchange. I mean, unfortunately, even though they're a bunch of crooks and it's highly, highly manipulated, the only place you can look for a legitimate listing right now is the Forex listings. That's it. Or you can go to the IMF site and see their list, which will correspond to the Forex list. But that's it. XE and oh god, I haven't. It's been so long since I even paid attention to them. All these other sites that list ZWD and ZWN and actually give a rate for it, I don't get where they're coming from or what they're trying to accomplish because there's nothing to trade there and there's nothing that exists, but yet they do have it. I've seen it. I know what you're talking about, but just disregard it. It means nothing at the moment.
I'd muted him because of all the noise in the background.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. This looks like a familiar. It is a familiar number. North Bend. Come on down.
Hi there. I know I'm kind of, I probably won't get an answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Wingman said that he had discovered a number of ways where he could make money. Are you talking about, I assume, of course, that you're talking about after the revaluation and people exchange. Is that through investments or basically can you share?
No, it can't. It is afterward, but I'm hesitant to share.
No fly zone. No fly zone.
No fly zone. It's all legitimate. What I really want you to take away from that thing I shared is that we're all going to have so much money that it's easier than pie to help out somebody who's been in this for a long time and just can't hang in there anymore. I think the old rule of shame, hold on to your currency no matter what. I think that was good advice. However, there are exceptions to every rule, and some folks I know are hanging in there, and maybe they're hurting themselves. Just in case this extends a little longer than we want it to, you don't want to get yourself into such a short-term bind that you're dealing with foreclosures and getting your lights turned off and getting your car repossessed and things like that. Anybody who's in this now, especially people who are on this call, you've all got friends who are in this as well. And part of the new order is to reach out and ask for help, and be there for other people, knowing that we're all going to be fine in the end. A gift that just international rates, a gifted dinar or a gifted dong. Forget about the Zim. Leave the Zim in its own separate little room. You can easily gift somebody something that's going to be worth $5 or $6 million post RV, and if you can't figure out how to have a comfortable life on $5 or $6 million in the bank, well, then then maybe you do deserve to lose it all. But that was my point. That was my point. Don't get stingy.
All right, ma'am.
May I ask another question, please?
Sure.
Sure.
It's yin or yang, left or right, and I'm reading a number of things that say that the dollar is going to take a hit as much as 50%, and I have to say I do have some concern about that. Can you address that?
Well, it's a short-term hit. First of all.
Short-term, 3 years, 4 years, or 3?
Yeah. 2-3 years is what the.
This is just our opinion.
Is that
we're
no fly?
about?
Yeah, that's right. This is just our opinion. That's correct. With the yuan having gone asset backed, okay, as a reserve currency, that is going to affect the other reserve currencies, and eventually, the fiat system has to disappear because it cannot function against an asset-backed global economy. So that will cause a disruption with the dollar. Nobody's really sure how much of a disruption. Nobody's sure how much of a market crash there's going to be. This is all part of the new game. But there is, I think, I'll put it this way. This is my personal opinion. There is going to be some disruption, but it's the kind of thing where we just have to ride it out. And this is why the advice is, park your money somewhere safe. Do what you want to do to have a comfortable life, but don't go investing right away. Don't try to make all that money work for you immediately. Sit back and see how things unfold. So you're right to be concerned, but you now have the power to wait out that concern. And
will it not
affect
markets if everybody, for example, those that are in the know, if they right away with the money that they've exchanged purchase yuan or some of the currencies that we feel will hold their value, will that not tip over the world market when somebody says, I want to buy, a gazillion?
No, because there's checks and balances. Again, this is just my conclusions from everybody that I talk to. The Chinese, who have worked on this for, some claim centuries, but let's just go with the past 5 decades. They are not going to let this thing fail now that it's taking off. So if it looks like too many people are diving into the yuan, chances are they're going to put the brakes on it. If it looks like any imbalance is being unduly accumulated during the adjustment phase, I am sure they're going to put the brakes on it. You got to remember, we've been thinking about this. Some of us for 12 years, but really the majority of us on a world stage have been thinking about this for the past 2 years. They've been thinking about it for the past 40 years. I cannot believe something this engineered and this well thought out has not also allowed for all sorts of contingencies and all sorts of stopgaps while the planet adjusts. So again, relax, don't panic. Know that there's a lot of very brilliant minds behind this thing, we've still got a lot to learn.
Thank you.
Okay. I hope that helped.
It does, yes. I just like to know where to park my money, though.
Well,
right,
you know what?
You,
Post RV, you're going to know. there's going to be avenues of information so that you know that.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a number without a city or a name, and I've seen it before, I believe, but the last four of your phone number is 0533. Come on down.
Well, that'd be down here in New Zealand, Jerry.
Ah, my in-country, out-of-country friends. Howdy.
That's exactly right. Yes. Good morning, or I should say, is it morning still? No, probably afternoon. Just wanted to say hello, and I've been listening, and I think there's a couple of things that have come to mind because I've got family that's chomping at the bit and anxious for this to go through, and as I would too, because it's my chance to come back home, and which I would like to do. But I think that the idea that there's a single thing that we have to have happen or whatever is probably a bit naive, but the idea that we're closer than we were last week, I believe to be true. And as long as that's the case, then I think we've got reason for optimism, and ultimately the wisest judgment is to maintain our level of patience. So I think that is probably the path of sanity at this point. But I think that I started watching the markets because Aiko's comments about what would happen or likely to happen and as preemptive to all this. And certainly the political landscape in the U.S. at this point has caused for more of us to pay better attention than we've ever paid before. But I just think that the idea that, geez, all we need is that number. And I think that may be a bit naive too, in the sense that if it doesn't roll out quite as quickly as what we all want, that we get disgusted and we think it's not happening. But I think there's a high likelihood it's in process now. So all we have to do is bide our time. That was just my thought. And to my family in Montesano and Aberdeen, Washington, and Sarasota and St. Pete, Florida, they get a big kick when they hear me mention that on your call. So sorry for the little PSA there, but I threw it in for their benefit.
Not a problem. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. To piggyback on what you just said, one of the big lessons here, I think, for many, many people, not just denarians, but people who thought they knew how the world worked. It is simply amazing how much they have been able to manipulate and buoy up the markets to maintain this image of prosperity and goodwill. It's just astounding. The bond market, I have connections in the bond market. They're all like sitting, and these are guys that have been doing this for 30 years, sitting around scratching heads like why isn't Japan falling into the Sea of Japan at the moment? And the U.S. market, how nobody talks about. Well, we talk about it here in Dinerland, but how the mainstream does not talk about the tiny volume of trades that buoy up an artificially inflated market, and the reasons behind it. All fiat dollar to blame. All multinational corporations taking advantage of bank regulations, and how Dodd-Frank may have put a great big, let's call it a 4x4 gauze pad on the wound, but I mean, this thing needs to be amputated. It's just it is astounding. People who were predicting that the market was going to completely implode over the summer now have egg on their face because it didn't. And why didn't? Nobody wants to talk about it, because the moment you go down that road, the fingers start pointing, back at the media itself, back at the bankers, back at the politicians. I mean, you name it. It really has been an incredible lesson in how artificial the whole thing has become, and how much work we're all going to have in conjunction with supporting a transparent banking system that we're going to have post RV. And I hope everybody doesn't like go off and live a great life and not realize the mechanism that got us into this. And part of it was not being proactive, not standing up and stating things that are obvious, and not supporting people who were telling the truth, although it might not be a pleasant one. There's a lot of unpleasantness that's going to have to occur post RV, and we need to be, we need to suck it up and stand on our own 2 feet and support that unpleasantness and help those who it's hurting.
Do you want to talk?
My soapbox must be on today. Yeah.
Do we want to talk to Middletown? Are they worthy, Wingman?
Here they are. Yeah.
Middletown, Delaware. I don't know anything about the Northeast up there. That's why I'm asking you. Middletown, come on down.
Come on down, Middletown.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I want to stay on the same topic that you were just talking about. My question is really for ICO.
You're underwater. You're breaking up pretty bad. Hold your arm up and lift your left foot.
Okay, I'm going to try something different here.
There you go. There you go. You're better now.
How about now? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So my question is this, and I don't even know if ICO can answer it, but I'd like to get his take on it. So I've been paying attention to everything going on with Deutsche Bank for the last week or so, and before that as well. But and my question is, do you think that what we are watching is a controlled unwinding of Deutsche Bank and a certain level of I don't know, certain level of them allowing us to see what's going on? Or do you think that we're, that the bad guys, to coin a phrase or whatever you want to call them, are still fighting this, and we're seeing a battle going on where the one side is wanting to see the system go down, and the other gang is still holding on and fighting? It's interesting.
Okay.
I
can answer a portion of it, my part, and then Wingman can finish the rest. But about 2.5 months ago, do you remember when the country of Germany said, I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Merkel. It was, I'm going to mute you because you got a lot of noise. It wasn't Merkel. I think it was somebody up high up in the financing of the government said, we need to nationalize Deutsche Bank because they're too big to fail. When we heard that comment or that statement, behind the scenes already, the deal had been made, because I believe Bilderberg was before that statement was made about how the breakup of Deutsche Bank was going to go. So that being said, Wingman, do you want to finish that up? Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, I had to unmute. It's a real textbook case of manipulation and some of it for the positive that's going on with Deutsche Bank right now. I mean, it's Bloomberg had this war, and what's interesting to me is it got very little momentum or attention. They had an article last week on the website, and it was 12 charts concerning the Deutsche Bank situation, and it was amazing. Deutsche Bank was of the 8 banks they 8 international major banks that they compared. Deutsche Bank was at the bottom of every single comparison. I mean, they were in such bad shape. It was ludicrous.
Look at them now.
and look at them now. But the one that I thought was most telling was they had a cross collateralization chart showing all the banks that would be affected by Deutsche Bank's failure. Deutsche Bank's in the middle of this spider web of interconnecting lines with every other major bank, half of the major regional banks. I mean, and also, institutions I'd never even seen before. But it was incredible. There had to be 50, 60 major hubs that were intertwined, cross-collateralized, which means basically in simplistic terms, if Deutsche Bank goes down, they go down. Okay. On this graph, it was frightening. And so yes, to one of the things that you posed in your question, they are absolutely controlling the demise of Deutsche Bank. And I know a couple of months ago there was an article out. They guesstimated that Deutsche Bank had $450 trillion in derivative debt, and that's what they could prove. And then the tagline to that was, through this little loophole that they did in the Marshall Plan, which those laws never came off the books after the Marshall Plan was quote unquote a success. They took advantage of further derivative manipulation, and nobody can even figure out or guess at how many more trillions they've got in these hidden derivatives. So the banking system is rotten to the core, and Deutsche Bank right now in Europe is the core. And that's all of Europe. That's everything.
Well, all right.
Let's the Vatican in that too. So it's a mess. Yeah.
All righty, sir. Does that help you out?
Yes. I think the only other question I would ask was, in connection to that, do you think they have the ability then, since they're doing this, to continue to do it, indefinitely, like they have with the stock market?
No, but that's the major forcing function of the ORD. The GCR is supposedly going to fix all this. It's going to wipe out the derivative debt. And
here we go.
So
let's go up here to West Point, home of the West Point. There we go.
Hey there, Jerry. How are you?
Pretty good. You can back off a little bit. You're really loud.
Sorry about that. Just had a couple of questions. I know Art mentioned the SITREP report, and were there any confirmations on a particular group that was supposedly exchanging out west today? I'm not going into too many names or anything. I don't even like to talk about other groups or calls, but I was just wondering if there was any confirmation that you may be aware of.
Nope.
Okay. And
you're talking about the rumor out in California over the weekend?
Yes. Particular thing that's going around Dinar land.
Yeah, 10,000 people exchanged in California over the weekend. I don't know any of them, and nobody called me.
All right. That's good. I just wanted to, there's a lot of misinformation out there and everything. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And my second question is, I know that we talk about this being a bond, the ZIM. Does that impact us with the market? I know they mentioned the bond market was kind of crazy and up and down. Is it strong enough now, or does that impact us when we exchange this ZIM now that's considered a bond? I appreciate you guys answering my question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Want me to take a stab at that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now, guys, so again, I'm not an expert, but this is what I've learned, and this is what I think is going on, okay? There are many different types of bonds, okay, first of all. But there was something once upon a time called a bearer bond. And if you look at all the really cool detective novels and international spy novels, bearer bonds were that was it. That was the cat's meow, because a bearer bond, basically, if you're holding that piece of paper, that's your piece of paper because there's no name on it. When you buy a bond these days, your name's on it. The institution's on it, et cetera, et cetera. a bearer bond is just, it's untraceable money, it's tax free, it's this, it's that, it's every fantasy you've got about holding a piece of paper is true about ZIM bonds. They are in effect bearer bonds. So that being said, they're out there with their own set of rules, and this is what nobody has a full handle on, except I guess the Chinese, because they supposedly own all these bonds. So we don't know the rate on them. We don't know how long we can hold on to them. We don't know if when they say come in and swap your bond, your ZIM bonds, do you have to get in there in within 30 days or 5 days or 500 days? All of these things are totally up in the air, which is one reason it's been so easy to BS everybody about, because nobody can prove you're shoveling horse manure. And so I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Here's that darn crooked insurance salesman again, up there from that Connecticut state, Hartford.
How's that traffic up there right now?
It's beautiful because I'm in Florida.
Florida.
I don't know if you need to get numbers.
I have good friends in New Hampshire, Vermont, and they're telling me go all the way up through New York State. Stay away from Hartford. Don't. Is it 81 or 91? 91. 91 is to be avoided.
91 and 85.
Yeah, and 85. Right.
I want you to know, not only it's the insurance capital, it's the pollen capital of the whole United States. I've got sinus issues with it. It's the worst in the world. But anyway,
well, you got to move down to Branford and get that air off Long Island Sound. Then you'll be okay.
There you go, off the water. Absolutely. That's why I moved to Florida. But I got to.
Are you sure you made a move for the better?
Well, yeah, I got water all over the place. I mean,
okay, I'm just checking.
Beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. But just one quick, not one, me, I go into more than one question, but to be a sovereign, I heard that we were a sovereign citizen, a person with, and they quote unquote, no borders. Now, does that mean that I can go anywhere in the world?
No.
Is that borders actually?
Hold on. Have you heard an official announcement about it yet?
Oh, I've read it numerous times. Have you guys read it?
Is it official? Is it official? I would hope so. I have my fingers crossed, but the
30th of September was this great day that nobody knows about, that we've been freed, and we got the Republic now. It's the Republic of the United States. Have you guys heard about that date, the 30th of September?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, okay. So there is something's out there, some credibility. But if you're a sovereign person, and I'm going to attach this to something that I think is really funny, is that they said that when you go into the bank, you're going to be treated like royalty. What the heck is that about? You call this royalty when the Admirals Group goes in there and they all march out? Is that royalty? Those guys are the same dirtballs. What is that saying? You can't change a spot on a leopard. What? It's so annoying to think that you would walk into a bank and think that they're going to really help you. I personally would love to know how people work around the banking system. Now, the question I have to ask also is, if we're on SWIFT here in the United States, and you go to India or Russia or wherever, are they on a new banking system?
Don't know.
Chips?
Well, hopefully we'll have somebody send me. Hold on. Hopefully somebody will send me some emails at the wingitcall@gmail.com and tell me about their experiences over in the BRICS countries. How is the USD working over there? Okay, so thank you for your question, sir. I'm going to go ahead and mute you so Aiko can answer.
Yeah, well, look, guys, it's, you know, I mean, I some things I hated about Tony, some things I loved about him, and one of his sayings, you know, who does that make sense to? If you pull back and think about all of this stuff going on, and think about all the selfish reasons it's going on, you know, we put these wonderful platitudes on this exchange. Well, this exchange is really about countries surviving, about people surviving, about wealthy people still being wealthy under a new system of currency. And if you think about it in those terms, then a lot of things make sense and a lot of things don't make sense. But one of the things is have the banks suddenly found Jesus and everybody's going to be, you know, it's going to be a glorious occasion whenever you go to the bank? No. But the bank has found a whole new set of very wealthy customers. And if you're in the service industry and you're in business to charge fees based on your services, you know, what do you want? You want wealthy customers. So are they going to treat you like royalty? Yes. But you're not royalty. They're just doing that because that's you know, that's the natural order. They want to survive. You want to survive. The way to survive is to have more money, you know, so you can take care of your baseline needs, and that's why the banks are going to be treating us like royalty, because we've got a lot of money. That is a foreign experience for I'd say almost everybody on this call. You know, to have a bank be your friend is absurd. They're never your friend. Even when you think they're your friend, they're not. They're just your friend for that moment because you happen to be paying really stupid interest on loans they gave you. As soon as you stop paying, boy, are they not your friend anymore. And I can tell you that one from personal experience. You know, your business gets in trouble. Doesn't matter if they've made millions of dollars off you in fees over the past 10 years. You are garbage. That's it in a nutshell. You go from being hero to heel in the blink of an eye.
Hero to zero. Let's kind of do rapid fire here before the end of the call.
Okay.
So, all right, from now on, one question, make it direct and to the point. It says Glendale, Texas. The last four of your phone number is 2440.
Hello, guys. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Aiko, maybe you can answer this. You know, if we're truly in the final stages of all this, are we still looking for an announcement of the United States note? Or are we looking for announcement of the Republic? Or any of that is not even important to announce to get us to the bank? What are your thoughts on that, Aiko?
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. You got to ask that again.
Okay, what I said is, are we still waiting for an announcement on either and or the Republic and the United States note, or does that even matter to get us to the bank to begin our exchange?
In my opinion, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, the narrative of the Republic that has permeated Dinar land is inaccurate. In my opinion, there is a movement out there, and there are a lot of elements of the Republic architecture that I think most people would like to see enacted. But there's no secret society out there working. I mean, come on, this is the United States of America, for God's sake. It's just, well, I don't want to get off on that. Bottom line is, but the bottom line is that there's no made. This is a mechanism. This is a system that's being put in place, and it's being methodically put into place as each step is accomplished. That's the simple, direct answer, and that's what all the evidence points to. This is an inevitable thing, and it just takes time to implement.
Perrine, Florida, come on down. Perini, 305.
Oh, hey, Jeff.
Hey.
Could you expand for a minute without, freaking us out with October 7th? Because, Mr. B goes to October 10th. So, if it's not the 7th, then it's never. I mean, can you just, touch on that for a minute, or you'll wait till Friday? Maybe unless there's a call, no call.
No, I'm going to wait till Friday, and I'll just say that I like Mr. B's timeline, okay?
Okay, so no reason to freak out then if it's...
If we wake up on the 7th before your call, today Jerry and I are going to tell us now it's after the election. Don't go there, just relax. Relax, remain calm, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Are you saying that's already out there?
What, the election, Echo?
No, that someone has said that Jerry and Iko said it's going to be after the election.
No, please let me repeat.
Okay.
Jerry,
right. Okay.
Jerry and you kind of said something before the call, so if I wake up now on the 7th, are we going to hear later in the afternoon on Friday, guys? Sorry, now it's not going to be till. We just relax, right? Just go,
Yes, just relax.
Yeah,
just relax. Relax. It's still going to be wonderful. Just relax.
All right. Thank you, sir. I think this is a mega seaport. Norfolk, come on down.
Hello, Jerry. Hello, Iko. How y'all doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I got one quick question for y'all. Do y'all know anyone that exchanged personally, not hearsay, but each of you know anyone that has exchanged from your own, not somebody telling you, but do y'all know?
I think that's kind of a no-fly zone.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, guys.
You're welcome.
All right.
Rogers, Arkansas. Come on down.
Yeah, hi. I have a question regarding some parking of some of this money. In the past, ICO has made a few suggestions of different currencies throughout the world that he felt or he's heard, whatever, that were strong and possibly a place to park them, and then others that he didn't think that they were. To avoid having to do research on 200 and some plus countries' currencies, is there a short list of what might be considered strong currencies, maybe to park some money in for future use?
And I want to, that's kind of a, like giving financial advice, but I want to clarify something. Yes, we have talked about it, but when this goes down, we've done a little research ourselves, and the yuan is now asset backed. That would be a good place if you wanted to diversify out of USD into another currency to protect yourselves for a period of time. That's one of them. Wingman? Yep, he might be busy. And
no,
we also.
I got it. I'm back.
Okay.
Just some broad general statements. Okay.
Yeah.
You look at the rate of exchange. Okay. Just whatever country A is. Well, right now the yuan is 6.5 yuan to 1 USD. Okay. Then you look at the stability of the country. And then, with everything we know, project what the stability of that country is going to be in the early stages of the GCR. So, for example, one that looks good right now is the Norwegian krona. Okay, it looks good, but think about what's going to happen in the Eurozone post-RD. There's going to be some disruption. It's going to be okay eventually, but there's going to be some disruption. So that maybe that's not a good candidate. It's more of an example than, say, the rupee, okay, Indian rupee.
Or the Swiss franc, is because they have depegged
or
from
the
the
Swiss
dollar.
franc, they've already done it. They've already depegged. You know, it's like it's a series of factors that you need to consider. But the general statement is it's a good idea to diversify right now. That's a good idea. It's a good idea to stay out of the Eurozone for now. There are Pacific Rim countries that look pretty good right now and will probably be okay post-RD because they're all in bed with the yuan. So if a country is associated with if their predominant trade partner is China, that's going to be good post-RD, at least for a while until things settle. And then, and you're going to have to be fluid. You're going to have to find somebody who understands this stuff and keeps monitoring it, because the yuan may be great for 2-3 years, and then suddenly, maybe everything you'll want to put into I don't know, I'll just pull something out of the hat. Argentina. I'm just pulling that out of the hat. I'm not saying that's the way to go, but you've got this is now a game that has to be played, and I don't want to say the word game. I don't want you to think of it as a lighthearted game. Okay, it's a very serious game.
All righty, sir. Does that help you out?
Yeah, it does an awful lot because, there's so many of them out there. Where do you start? And I think some of the pointers that he has are good. I was wondering, too, just quickly, Russians form of currency. Is there any possibility that might be, something that would be worth looking into?
That's
seems that they're in the BRIC nations. They're also going to be, they've got tons of gold theoretically. They've got oil, the resources, and so forth. And I think they're into a day's market. They're somewhat of becoming a leader, even though the world here in the United States doesn't think so as far as the common citizen. But internationally, they're making headway. I don't know.
I would like, this is it's veering off the topic just a little, but we're all hearing about how Russia is going to go into Syria, and they've already got Air Force squadrons lined up to start flying into Syria, into Aleppo, and start taking care of business. And the U.S. is threatening the NATO countries. If you'll listen or read closely, the NATO countries aren't really saying a whole lot. They're keeping their head down. And the reason I say this is, where do you think 60 to 70% of their gas comes from?
Yeah, that's true.
And it's getting close to what type of the year?
Pipeline, didn't it?
Yeah, it's getting close to wintertime, and they've been stacking up and hoarding gas best they can in their facilities. It still only gives them 30 days of gas.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
and heating oil and whatever. Yeah. So nothing stays the same forever. Rome didn't. Not to say that they didn't have some great ideas, but nothing stays the same forever. And right now you're seeing how hard they're kicking and screaming to stay in control and not change over, because when the fiat money disappears, they've already figured out a way to work within the new gold-backed system or asset-backed system. But why not just take it to the very end, to the last tick-tock before you give up? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
All righty, sir.
No, I think appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, Jared, just to add something real quick here. The problem in trying to find out any of these answers is it's a global problem. And there are people who spend their lives trying to analyze global dynamics. So for us to come up with anything more than a direction to look in on a call like this, I mean that's actually pretty fantastic in and of itself. Just to say, hey, well, you know, why don't you look in this direction? But to get answers to these things, you're going to have to become a student of global politics and global dynamics, and that's a lifetime venture. That's you know, computers and the internet have greatly increased our toolkit, but the bottom line is, you know, you figure it out, man. You're going to be a famous person, that's for sure. So
here we go. Salem, Oregon, 503. Come on down.
Did you say 503?
Yes, I did.
First time caller. Appreciate you taking my call, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Two things. Actually, I wanted to give you guys some input, and I haven't been able to call in since you started this call, but I had to do an actual exchange to pay an electric bill a while back. Went to Wells Fargo downtown. You can see I live in the capital city, so it's a pretty good-sized town, and the main branch downtown, of course, does currency exchanges. Give you some input. FCIN form is online. They just print it out. You don't have to ask for it. The second thing I wanted to let you know is there was no fee discussed as far as the BIS or World Bank or whatever fee it is that people talk about. I only paid basically, I mean, I was selling my currency back to them, so I wasn't getting a good rate or anything, but I only had to pay $7.50 to exchange $30 million. So there is no extra fee that anyone's going to be paying. If you're not a Wells Fargo customer, that $7.50 fee is what you pay. If you are a customer, you don't pay anything. Now, I don't know what any of the other branches do, and all of this, of course, can change because, you know, our government can change things in a heartbeat. With that all said and done, I'm interested in hearing if Iko has talked to his bank contact recently, number one, and number two, just quickly to add to that, there's some time frames of Wednesday through Thursday as being our potential. I know Art kind of said something like that too, but from what you guys are hearing and from your contacts, is that a legitimate time window, or are we really looking like it might go this time?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, my regional wealth manager is completely frustrated, totally in the dark, and pretty pissed off that he hasn't been let in on what the details are. And I think that is the correct statement for anybody on the retail side of Wells Fargo banking. That seems to be the case. They just did a great job of keeping everybody in the dark. And it's pretty clear they set up a separate exchange corporation to handle what is about to be a large chunk of business. But anything that you read, any financial analysis that you look at, does not take into account the exchange in any way, shape, or form, because there is nothing to measure. Because as far as Wells Fargo is concerned, there's nothing there. And that's a true statement, because there's another corporation, happens to be owned by Wells Fargo and will be in business under the Wells Fargo umbrella, but as of yet, it's not doing any business. There's nothing to measure. So that's
with them doing that, they could pretty much set up any kind of fees they want to charge us. With that being the case, separate corporation.
They can do whatever they want. But again, go back to being a businessman. What makes sense? Okay, they definitely want a piece of this business. There's that, and by the way, I love your black and white information. You know, that just cuts through so much crap that you hear. You know,
I've been wanting to call in for about 6 months to tell you guys that, but
I wish I had.
Well, I'm on a paper minute phone, so I've sat here all this morning waiting for you just so I could say it. But
Yeah.
All righty,
well,
sir.
So, but you're right. They can, and again, that goes back to that conversation I had with a certain individual about what the rules of the game were, and he very wisely said, nobody knows because they still don't know what the game is. But remember, it's going to be a competitive situation, and hopefully, for once, the market will determine the fee structures. Competition will help. Hopefully, you know how that works.
Yeah. So are we still looking? I mean, is that window this Wednesday, Thursday timeline? Has you guys have any contacts that have confirmed that you believe?
I said at the beginning of the call. Yeah, as I said at the beginning of the call, if we're still sitting here Friday, we'll talk about it some more. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it. Thanks, Iko, and thanks, Art.
You're welcome. Again, there isn't a person, an Intel provider, guru out there that says they have the best contacts. Nobody's been right yet. They're saying we're in the know. We're right there in the room. We see the light on. So you see the light on. Stop calling it every day. Unless you're in there when they push the button and you watch the pain go around the world and it's all of a sudden it's show me the money, stop calling it. It's BS, and you know it. All right. Nashville.
Well said.
Nashville.
Oh,
615.
you know what? Speaking of Nashville, I did not know that Blake was the writer and producer of what is it? True to Back Spit. What's the title of that song?
Yeah, Redneck.
Yeah, right. Whatever. That man's a genius.
Yep. Yeah.
That man is
Nashville.
A genius.
615. You're percolating there. Come on. He fell asleep.
Or he had a stroke.
Yeah.
I hope he just fell asleep.
Beaverton, come on down.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the micro capital of the U.S. here in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
They'll have some blue moons here for you.
Where all the smart people went to live.
Well, it all depends.
I don't know. Is Beaverton a suburb of Caltech?
No, but we are Silicon Valley North.
Okay.
Yes.
And we got Nike out here. They got a huge campus, and they bring all these athletes and do all kinds of, they have competitions and trials and track meets and games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Intel, Tektronix, Maxim, Quovo. They're all over the place. Intel built buildings that, they're huge. They're like, 6-7-story foundry buildings out here. So it's getting crazy. Housing is a mess right now, but other than that, we're doing good.
And your question for the day, please.
My question for the day, what have you heard? I've heard all kinds of ramblings going on. What are the differences as far as the zeros being lopped off on the ZIM, the Dong, or the dinar? And then I've also heard there are 4 different levels of rates: the market rate, international, contract, or then sovereign. Some say that there are no contract or NDAs to be signed, and others say there are. And I appreciate your opinion on that.
Well, let me say this. When I go into exchange the ZIM that I'm holding, I just want the market rate. They're not going to have any control over what I'm doing. And they're saying, well, look at all this you're leaving on the table. If you hear those words come out of the banker's mouth, are you sure you don't want some more? Can we offer you a higher rate? Say, yes, you can, as long as it doesn't come with an NDA.
Right.
Am I pretty clear on what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. No, I'm concerned about clawbacks and, them holding money, or you have a project going that all of a sudden you can't get the funds from the bank, and then it creates problems if you're trying to develop.
If you get 50 cents when you go in for the ZIM, that's still $50 million for every 100 T-note.
Right.
You can't live on something like that. I know that this is like beating a dead horse, an old cliche. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
Oh, yeah. No,
So
I can live on that. It's just if my concern is I've got actual, some food, development, farming, some energy, and I've got several different and quite a few humanitarian projects that I'm looking to actually fund. And
send me an email. Put in the subject line. Put your first name. I'm looking at it.
Right.
Don't say it.
Right.
And the last 4 of your phone number, because I am going to, later on today, I'm going to stick in the link for the soil restoration website. But I think I need to get you and that guy together.
Yes, I actually have plans on speaking to him when the time's appropriate, because we've got several things on several continents.
Actually, what you can do is go to their website, call and talk to Boss Lady, and she'll get you in touch with Soil Dude.
Okay. What's your email address?
The wingitcall@gmail.com.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
also go to their website.
Yes, I have that from that call a week ago. I appreciate
Alrighty,
it.
sir.
What are your thoughts? What are you hearing? Are there going to be zeros? I've heard 6. I've heard 1. I've heard none on the Dong, Dinar, and the Zim. What is the last?
I don't think there's going to be any alterations to the currency that we hold before we go in.
Right. I figure after they're going to do that over in country over in Iraq. They want to drop that on purpose just for their own currency and commerce there. But I thought the rest of the Dong I hadn't heard. So they've been doing that forever, and they've got so many of them. They might as well drop a couple off once they get through. But I was just curious if it would affect the actual rate during the exchange process.
Well, we truly won't know till we get there. Just be prepared. Boy Scout it.
I am. Thank you. Blessings to you, gentlemen, and thank you for all the strength, wisdom, and patience you've given all of us out here in Dinarland.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Iko?
Yes. Yes.
After another wonderful day at the neighborhood.
Yes.
What is the last thing you say as you walk off the playground?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody, and thank you again for the opportunity to bring you a little intel and information. Goodbye.
The conference is now completed. Goodbye. Welcome.